Yeah, Macy was being an a-hole this morning.
Oh yeah, why?
Like, because I was waking up and like my mom was on the phone and you can just hear like chirping all morning. So I came downstairs and pet her.
Oh,
And we're live.
we're back. Did you miss us?
Uh, I may not have, but other people may have like the three people that listen to us.
Wait, we have three now?
Yeah, we're moving up in the world. Anyway,
I mean, you're one, I'm two. I didn't know there was a third.
yeah, who knew? So anyway, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the MG and Professor Show. We've been away for a week just because schedules conflicted and stuff happens.
It's been a wild time.
Yeah, and we're doing a morning show, which is like probably never gonna happen again, but that's okay.
Yeah, this is you're watching, so you don't have to watch ESPN, you don't have to watch Get Up,
we're
and all those other morning shows. Just watch us in the morning. We're better.
I think we have the same amount of ratings though, which is sad but true.
Hey, I don't know. I mean, those shows used to be good.
Yeah,
Like
for like a
I
week.
definitely I remember watching Skip and Stephen A. Like I used to love those two
But
as a duo, the way that they would go at each other, like
oh,
head in
absolutely.
head. Like it was just
Yeah,
incredible.
it's not the same with Shannon Sharp or just
No,
Get Up.
Skip and Shannon, not so much. Stephen A. and I don't
Well,
even
his son,
know
Stephen
who
A's got his
does
own
it
show.
now. Yeah, he
It's
used to do it with what was his name? Max?
yeah, Max
Max
Kellerman.
somebody. Yeah, that was not good. But yeah, now Stephen A. No, he does it with Michael Irving sometimes, and it was really funny because after the Cowboys had lost, their great season and all the expectations were
Oh
high and
yeah.
they're gonna win a Super Bowl. He literally, I don't know if you've seen this video or not. If not, I'll try to find it. He literally had a montage where he just had clips of sad Cowboys fans in the stands and he played that while just laughing hysterically for like 2 whole minutes. Like he was supposed to talk about the Cowboys, but instead he played this and just
So that
laughed
would
over it.
so that'd be me with you. I got
Yeah, basically. But like
it.
Stephen A is known for his
Hatred.
disbelief and hatred and the cow. I mean, he used to be
Yeah,
a Philadelphia Inquirer beat reporter. Of course, he doesn't like the
but yet he's a
Cowboys.
Steelers fan.
Don't quite ask me the question on that one. Although I don't know, back then it was easy to not be an
Well,
Eagles fan. The
well, I
team
think,
wasn't
but didn't he
exactly.
also go to Temple and all that too? Like,
I think he went to Temple, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, most people in the area that ended up kind of getting big in broadcasting did end up going to Temple, so it would not surprise me. But yeah, like
right.
he got his start with the Inquirer, and so he was the beat reporter for the Cowboys' biggest rival at the time, and well, the
Yeah.
Giants were the Cowboys, and the Washington was their biggest rival. But in Philly, as far as we considered ourselves, we were the
All
Cowboys' biggest rival.
well, it's no different than the Bills, the Jets, and the Dolphins all hate the Patriots. It's the same thing.
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy.
It's still our enemy, but
Yeah,
we still
the enemy of my enemy is my friend for 2 games each season when they play them, and that's it.
yes,
Yeah, that's the new quote.
yeah. That's the exact quote from the Middle Eastern times. It was retranslated recently, guys.
Yeah, yeah. They just didn't quite have, the language wasn't fully worked out then, and like football wasn't exactly a thing, but that's what they meant.
So yeah, speaking of football, there was a little. I heard the off season was a little busy. Did you hear anything about the off season?
Yeah, I mean, pretty uneventful, other than the fact that like 5 franchise quarterbacks found new teams or shockingly stayed with old teams in moves that mind boggle the brain. You want
To
to
say the
start there?
least. Sure. Why not?
As you, when this happened, I believe it was you that messaged me that said, if you hear that, that's just Phil screaming.
Yes.
Shout out to our good buddy and former co-host. Yeah, I would love to know his thoughts on
Uh,
both
we
keeping Rogers,
we
but then
can't.
losing Adams.
We couldn't air that on live TV.
Yeah, we don't have censors, so we couldn't quite make that work.
Yeah, if we did though, it'd be like that. The hell was it? That episode of the Cleveland Show when Cleveland Drew describes Stocks to his dad.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
bleep for like 2 minutes.
The whole thing.
That would be Phil's reaction. I literally texted him when it happened.
roller
Yeah,
coaster of emotions too.
I
You're
would say
gonna
so.
be in one place, whether you like Rodgers or dislike Rodgers. Let's be honest, still one of the better quarterback options that you can have for your team. So that's great. You get to keep Aaron Rodgers, and then
Who's he throwing to?
a week later, bye top weapon. Like,
Yeah,
man, I wonder
and they
even how
got it.
Rodgers is feeling. Like he's not
Apparently,
gonna
he
lose
knew
sleep
about
at
it.
night. Oh, he knew about it. He was okay with it.
I wouldn't
So
say
what's he
that.
expecting them to do? Draft one in the draft, not get Jordan Love 2.0?
I will laugh hysterically if they don't, because they have 2 first round picks now. I will laugh hysterically if they don't spend one of them on a receiver.
It literally it would be the same thing that happened when they took Jordan Love and they
I would.
didn't get Rodgers' help. It was like, why did you stay?
If I were
The
Aaron
money.
Rodgers,
But he could have gotten that money elsewhere.
oh, he could have gotten it anywhere. Even
Easily.
this contract, he could have gotten it.
Yeah, easily.
I will laugh hysterically though if, like, say it doesn't happen in 3 weeks, the draft round 1, if they don't get a receiver on either pick.
Yeah.
I will laugh hysterically because it's like, if I were Aaron Rodgers, I'd retire again. I go like, I'm done. keep your money. I keep the guaranteed money. Get lost.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was very, after all of the grandstanding, after all of the back and forth in the previous offseason, after the way that he talked about how he didn't feel Packers management supported him, and the coaching staff, he had kind of question marks about it. Like, this man literally spent months telling us that I am going to come back and play for this team, but come December, I am out of here. And if you had money on Aaron Rodgers going back to the Packers, then you're probably looking like a pretty wealthy person right now, because I cannot imagine that was high on the betting odds as far as what he was going to do. Like, Packers versus the field, I would have taken the field every time.
Because that the Broncos and all them were lining up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Denver seemed like a perfect fit.
Yeah, with all those, and then speaking of Denver.
Yeah, they got their man in a different way.
Yeah, and they gave up a king's ransom to get him.
An insane amount.
I think it was way too much.
Second only to what the Browns gave up.
Yeah,
to get their man.
We won't go into that.
Which is absolutely unreal. And I know people that are still like, oh, why did the Eagles go for Deshaun Watson? It's like, first of all,
I can put you on the list.
Why not play?
I can give you
Second of all,
I'll give you 22 reasons why.
Yeah. 22 plus another 5 picks why it was not worth going for Deshaun Watson. Especially with Baker Mayfield still on the team, and this man can't get out. Like, that's hilarious to me.
Well, it's the kicking the ass for the Browns is that's guaranteed money for Baker Mayfield too. That's a lot of guaranteed money for the quarterback position.
Yep.
I wonder, I
know how it feels to pay a quarterback to play elsewhere.
So there's another team this year.
They now are eating up. Hilarious to me. How that all shaked out.
But I find it a perfect time to do it for them. As crazy as it sounds.
In what terms?
For Atlanta, they know they're going to be bad.
Yeah.
So why not have the year they eat the $40 million this year, which they are.
True. Yeah, that's true. Better to eat it this year than to eat it when they're actually trying to rebuild.
Right. And they're going to rebuild this. They're going to be absolute crap this year. They're probably going to tank for whoever's the best quarterback coming out is. Because 2023 is arguably a way better draft class for quarterbacks.
Way better class, yeah.
So if you have the number 1 overall pick, you could get your franchise quarterback. And by the way, you'll still have $100 million in cap space to use.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely. To me, it's more the hilarity of everything, because we're seeing now in back-to-back years a team paying their franchise quarterback. And now, granted, the situations with Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan are a little different because Matt Ryan was considered to be on his way out. Carson Wentz had just signed that 6-year deal with the Eagles. But both those teams in back-to-back years were paying that quarterback to play elsewhere. like it's crazy. I get that the math works out in the favor of the Falcons, and the Eagles ultimately seem like they got the last laugh in
Yeah,
this
because
whole thing.
Jalen
Like,
with Jalen
yeah,
Hurts playing
well,
good.
not even so much that, but more the idea of the Colts, that second round pick did turn into a first round pick because Carson played the required amount of snaps, and that gave the Eagles 3 first-round picks. They were able to use those first-round picks to make a deal with the Saints, which a lot of people are favorable towards the Eagles for that, because again, it's that idea of you don't need 3 first-round picks in a year where it seems like you're going to rock with Jalen Hurts again, see how it's all going to shake out. And if it doesn't work, you got another first-round pick next year in what is arguably a better quarterback class.
I'm intrigued.
I don't hate it.
I'm in the middle. I really am. Because you have 3 middle first round picks, you could like rearm like that. You could have built that defense pretty damn good, or like you could have got a good, you could have got like a better Jalen Reagor.
Oh well, that's a whole thing. Like,
I'm on the fence. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like for long term, especially you got a second round pick in 2024. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're hoping the Saints absolutely suck this year.
Right. And I think the value of that pick, like, not to say the Saints don't look like they're great on paper. I mean, let's be honest, but the Falcons aren't great. The biggest thing that you worry about in that division is, hello, welcome back, Mr. Tom Brady, on the shortest, no, I can't even call that the shortest retirement tour of anybody in the NFL, but it's pretty up there. I think Brett Favre's was a little bit shorter when he went from retired. That's exactly my point. I think it was the second one that was short. I think it was the retiring from Minnesota, or was it the Jets to Minnesota, or Minnesota to the Jets?
It was the Jets to Minnesota.
The Jets to Minnesota. I think that was the shorter of the retirements. But yeah, I mean, I think with Tom Brady, like we're jumping all over the place here. Like there's no cohesion to what we're talking about. But yeah, with Tom Brady, I don't think anybody actually
we're all talking about quarterbacks. Good.
True. Yeah, that's true. We're just like not ever finishing a thought on any of them. We keep jumping to the next one. But I think with Tom Brady, no one expected that he was going to stay retired. Well, what I did not expect was that he was going to come back that soon, and that he was going to come back after Bruce Arians retired. So like there's this question mark there of, did Tom force his coach out? Is he? I mean, there's
I think his Arians' health
conversation with Brady either. And coaches.
I mean, Arians is a large man.
Yes, that is correct.
I mean, like that thing he carries around his chest like a shoulder strap. That's his battery pack for his headset. Yeah. For everyone that doesn't know what that is, that's supposed to be on your waist.
Yeah.
I swear I'm not fake shaming because I'm a larger guy, but it's like I mean, that can be good. I mean, he's had issues with his heart.
Right.
That's why he retired from Arizona. So, I don't know. Like, I would say it's a combination of column A, column B.
I mean, I look at all this stuff, and across the league, and again, it just goes back to timing is everything. So, whether or not it was a coincidence, whether or not he was truly stepping away for his health, or it was a matter of like.
I think
a little bit of, like you said, column A, column B kind of situation. The timing just looks a little suspect.
Well, I think the reason why Tom came back to it, what helped him too, is he was already under contract.
True.
Like he had 1 year left.
He's gonna make a boat ton of money.
Well, he's gonna make the boat ton of money anyway because it's he's when you retire, you still get the guaranteed 1 year contract.
Right, and he waited to retire until that option kicked in, so he was gonna get that money anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Not a dumb man.
No, not at all. But yeah, so I mean, since we talked about, I think, Matt Ryan, the Colts gave up a third for Matt Ryan,
which just seems bonkers to me. I mean, the Colts have not been able to figure out a quarterback since Andrew Luck retired.
Well,
and for all the crap that people gave Andrew Luck, like for not being that great, listen, he was the best thing that they had in the last.
He's the best
7-8 years.
He's the second best quarterback they've ever drafted behind Peyton Manning.
Apparently, Washington tried to lure him out of retirement.
Well, I think he lives in DC.
Before they settled on Carson Wentz.
Like I said, I think he's still under contract for the Colts though. So like I think they'd have to pay him. They'd have to the Colts
probably
get him.
Yeah, probably. And
'Cause
the
I think
Colts
he's on,
should
like,
be paying 2 ex-quarterbacks to play for other teams.
well, I think it's negligent. I think they just paid a lump sum the first year then, but I think he's still under contract technically.
Yeah, it would just mean that they would own his rights.
Yeah. In
So
case
they
he
would
was,
have first right of refusal, basically, if he
basically,
was going
yeah,
to come
that's the
back.
best way to describe it. And yeah, I mean, we talked about like Russell Wilson going to the Broncos. It's just like I saw the amount, like, holy God, like they really did, like, for a 32-year-old quarterback.
And that's the part that gets me. And I understand in the NFL, over the last couple of years, there has been a very strong difference between rookies that everybody puts all their money on and the proven players that are the ones who are going out there winning championships. And there has been a little bit of a buffing of father time in the NFL of late, where guys like Tom Brady are still playing at a high level into their 40s, where somebody like Aaron Rodgers is still playing at a high level into his 40s. Like all these older guys are still performing well. So, in that regard, if your mentality is win now, then it does make sense that you would bring in one of these guys who has proven, who has
But
won a Super Bowl, or who at least has gotten to a Super Bowl.
If you're in the NFC, sure, but in the AFC, I mean, God, there's what, 12 franchise quarterbacks now?
Well, the problem with the AFC, though, is the AFC has all of the young cornerstone quarterbacks. I mean, you could even say what you will about Deshaun Watson and his off-the-field issues. Talent-wise, if we are speaking purely on his football talent, he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. You've got Deshaun Watson, you've got Josh Allen, you've got Patrick Mahomes, you've got maybe on like a tier 2, a Lamar Jackson, a Baker Mayfield. You have a Joe Burrow.
Baker's a little lower than that.
All these guys. Well, yeah, now he is. Now that he doesn't even have a job.
Well, he does. He's still the backup quarterback.
Imagine paying him to be backup quarterback.
Especially when he demanded a trade.
Yeah, classic Cleveland.
Cleveland, Browns.
But yeah, like there's so many of these young, talented, and you could argue with Russell Wilson. Yes, he's 32. He's still young-ish in regards to, I mean, if he was in the NFC, he would still be one of the youngest quarterbacks, which is just shockingly how terribly old that conference is. But he could be benefiting from a change of scenery. He's a guy who
he went to the hardest division of football.
He went to the hardest division of football. But I think his time in Seattle was up, and I think he wanted to go somewhere where there was an appreciation for what he would bring as quarterback. And I think that got away from his time in Seattle. Like, I think, yes, his chances of winning a Super Bowl may well have been better if he stayed with the Seahawks or went elsewhere in the NFC. But the fact that Denver was willing to give up so much for him, the fact that they were so interested in him, I think for a guy like Russell Wilson, that made a difference.
It's just like, it's baffling.
It's a heck of a challenge.
It is.
I mean, that's going to be I didn't even mention Herbert when I was naming the young quarterbacks. But yeah, like that division is going to be absolutely stacked.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary to think Derek Carr is the 4th best quarterback in that division.
Yeah, because Derek Carr on his best day is pretty good.
Is an MVP.
He's dealt with injuries. And I mean, my gosh, you play for the Raiders where all of your wide receivers end up in pinstripes, orange jumpsuits. Like, that's not easy for you. But they've got Devontae Adams now, which I think is really good.
They got a hell of a good defense.
They've got
Chandler Jones,
tight end whose name is escaping me, but
Darren
Waller, who played really well last year, and I think he's on the verge of kind of breaking into that top tight end conversation. Their defense is looking like it's going to be really strong. So yeah, I think it's that division could well send 3 teams to the playoffs, and it would not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, with 7 teams, I think it's in all 4.
Because I think you're getting it's possible. I wouldn't rule it out, but
my only concern is
the odds of being able to do that just because you have to almost cannibalize each other. The fact that you play each other team. That's why I don't think a division would ever send all 4. But I mean, you look around the AFC and it's like,
the AFC West too.
Bills are probably the only team from the East. I'm sorry, just because you got Tyreek Hill, Miami, doesn't suddenly make your quarterback capable of being able to throw to Tyreek Hill. Like, he doesn't have the arm. He doesn't have the arm for Tyreek Hill to go all the way downfield.
There's a memory that,
Is there?
I saw it was like of Tua throwing the ball, Terran Armstead, which we'll talk about in a second, blocking for Tua, and then like Tyreek Hill down the field and the ball's like 40 yards short.
Yeah. Yeah. So unless they,
especially a lot of screen passes
again with a not so great quarterback draft, and I don't know even what they have draft pick wise.
Miami.
I don't think it's great because I'm pretty sure one of their firsts is what the Eagles had.
Yeah, the Eagles have that, and then like they traded the house to get Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, so it's like you're stuck with Tua, and I don't think he has the arm for it. So whether or not he can prove you wrong and work out in the offseason, strengthen his arm, do this, that, and the other thing. But a guy like Tyreek Hill, you're wasting his best asset if you don't have somebody that can throw downfield. Because the thing with Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill can outrun every single defender in football. I'm sorry, there's not one defender who can outrun
he's the fastest
this
person in the NFL.
But if you are sitting in the end zone wide open, waiting for a ball that your quarterback can't possibly reach you with, what's the point? The defender has time to get to you.
And your opponents in the division are all cold weather teams.
Right.
So if you have to play the Jets, the Jets, the Patriots, and Dolphins weeks of the Jets, Patriots, and Bills, 16, 17, and 18 of the season.
Yeah. And you can't throw the ball at all.
I would say you live in the Northeast too. If it turns cold, it gets snowy.
Yep.
I mean, heaven forbid there's a snowstorm in Buffalo in week 18, you're playing the Bills.
It's snowy, it gets wet, the ball is slippery, it's harder, even just the cold, it makes it harder to throw it, harder to grip it. Yeah, I don't know.
I expect him to get lit up at the line.
The Dolphins were thinking. Like, getting a player like Tyreek Hill,
because they want to blow $30 million a year receiver.
Tyreek Hill is great, but you're not there yet. You're not in a position where getting a Tyreek Hill is suddenly going to make you competitive in that division.
Yeah, they're probably the second best team in the division. So it's a scary thing.
Yeah, literally.
Because there's two words sum up one other team's free agency this year. Ty Montgomery. If you haven't heard,
I did not.
I gotta find you that clip.
But I'll tell you that name doesn't really inspire much confidence.
Well, it was the biggest free agent signing that the Patriots have. And there was a call-in show from one of the Boston affiliates, and he just yells Ty Montgomery for like 2 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Like, just that's all we did.
But my thing with the Patriots, and the reason why I would almost put them above the Dolphins, and if not like close to, it's Bill Belichick. It's 100% Bill Belichick. You can't underestimate coaching like that. I mean, look at what the San Antonio Spurs were able to do for so long. They didn't always have great teams, but my God, they had a fantastic coach, Greg Popovich. The value of good coaching. I'm not saying they're going to win the division. I'm not saying they're as good as the Bills, but I think they're as good as the Dolphins on the level of Bill Belichick alone, and what Bill Belichick has always been able to get out of his players. Ty Montgomery or not.
Mike Greb was all the players that the Patriots lost.
They did lose a lot. There's definitely
between self-inflicted and just like losing to free agency. Like,
but Mac Jones, Ty Montgomery, Bill Belichick, that's a winner. That's a winner right there. That's a winner. That's a winner of if 8
you're playing
games.
the Jets. Yeah. I might be generous with that. I mean, like, first of all, you lose one of your guards to free agency. I think he went to Cincinnati and Ted Karras. And then you trade your other guard away to Tampa Bay for a 5th round pick because Tampa Bay lost like one of Ellie Marpet to retirement. For a 5th round pick, your starting right guard goes to Tampa Bay. So you need both guard positions. Your best defensive player, I'm sorry, he is J.C. Jackson, goes to the Chargers. It's like you just gutted and you cut Kyle Van Noy again. And like like Mad Judon recruiting online was kind of funny, especially when the Bills beat writers like trolled the hell out of him for it. It's like, you don't have Brady anymore. You can't get anyone to come to you.
Yeah.
And this was even before they signed
the value of the Patriots has definitely gone downhill. But I'm telling you, I did not expect that team to be competitive in that division last year.
That defense got.
I'm not sleeping on him. I can't. I'm not sleeping on him.
But then they said that
not to win. Maybe not even to make the playoffs, but as better than Miami, I do think so.
I honestly, crazy sounds. I like the Jets actually almost in the second spot. Like they did a lot of smart, like low key moves. They didn't go for the big splash like some teams like Miami.
I can't like the Jets.
There's
just something about their history, and like this is like New York teams in general. Like I swear, like there's a reason why I am not high on the Mets the way that other people are, and it has nothing to do with the bias.
Is that why you're not?
It has nothing to do with the bias of being a Phillies fan, but legitimately, this team has blown so many good teams because of injuries, because of various like stupid, LOL Mets is a thing for a reason. LOL Jets is a thing for a reason. Like
it's just in the season, not
Jets. I don't think the Jets were good once upon a time, and then Mark Sanchez butt fumbled, and the whole franchise has been a joke ever since.
There's plenty of video about that, but it's like God. It's like how can you be that? Like when you have an owner, I'm sorry not to get political on a show, but when it's the owner like from 10 years ago says it's better for our Republican nominee to become president of the United States than my team winning a Super Bowl, I'd say you've lost the team altogether. Like
you can think that way. You can think however you want. You can't say it.
Yeah, he flat out said it. It's like, in 2012, he wanted it would be better if Barack Obama didn't get reelected than the Jets winning a Super Bowl. It's like if I was a Jets fan, I'd say sell the team.
Yeah, exactly. One, I mean, that's like
you'll make a whole shitload of money. Sorry for the language, really, but yeah, you make
Tony
a whole boatload of money.
Saying, or I think it was Tony La Russa. He manages the White Sox, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was like when he said that he sided with the Twins when they threw over that whole, the White Sox catcher or the White Sox player hitting the home run off the pitcher.
Yeah, 3-0 count.
So like he said he sided with the Twins when they beat his own players. Like, I get it. I understand your old school mentality, but you can't say it. You can think it. You can feel it. You can emotionally, be upset about it, but you can't say it. There's certain things that you can't say. Those are examples.
Yeah, and yet you're still the manager of the White Sox.
And yet you're still the manager of the White Sox, who are expected to be really good. I mean, the division is theirs to lose. And it's pretty like much. Tony La Russa, like he's here, but is he really making a difference? Is he really moving the needle for a team that was already good?
They're getting the senior discount with him.
Yeah, you got him. You got Terry Francona, who's coming back this year.
Yeah, but Tony La Russa's way the hell older, I think. I mean, he's 77 years. He's 77 years old.
Francona's up there. I think he's in his 60s.
Yeah, but
you got Buck Showalter, who's there for the Mets. He's another old timer coming back. And,
77 for Tony La Russa, and he'll be 78 by the time the end of the season ends.
You know who I miss? I miss Ozzie Guillen. Guillen was great. He was a train wreck, but he was great.
Well, he was a really good manager, but I was like, I know we switched to baseball real quick because, why not? But
we can wrap up football.
Well, we'll go back to football. We got plenty of that to talk about.
I mean, we pretty much only talked about the quarterbacks, but I think that was definitely the big story this offseason was had Tom Brady unretire,
switch teams,
retire and unretire. You had Aaron Rodgers shockingly decide to stay with the Packers. You had, Russell Wilson, new team. Deshaun Watson, new team. Matt Ryan, new team. Carson Wentz, new team. I think more quarterbacks moved this offseason than
easily
I can remember. 5? Yeah, like at least. And you're not even talking about, I'm talking bad
5 years combined.
Necessarily quarterbacks. Like you're talking about big names went through transitional off seasons, whether it meant signing with a new team or coming back to an old team, like big transitional off seasons for some of the oldest quarterbacks in the NFL.
I mean, I'm looking at literally the top 15. According to CBS's
The wide
rankings.
receivers too. Big
Uh,
moves of some franchise cornerstone wide receivers.
Oh,
going
you
to
hope they're
other
franchise
teams.
cornerstones.
Well, I meant
Like-
with their old teams.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking about like Devontae Adams being a franchise cornerstone
mean,
with the
only-
Packers, Tyreek Hill being a
I'm-
franchise with the Chiefs.
I'm literally looking at like the top.
There's even question DK
the-
Metcalf.
The top
might move.
14 right now. Only two players stay with their own team according to CBS's top 15 player, like top
Wow.
100 players. In the top 14, only 2 players stay the same. Resigned.
Did Amari Cooper leave the Cowboys yet? Or is
Yeah,
that still,
he got traded. He got traded to the Cleveland Browns for swapping of the 6th round pick and the 5th round pick.
Yeah, what a steal. What an absolute steal.
Well, I think it was the price tag.
It was definitely the price tag. It was they can't afford to pay him and
And
pay
he wasn't-
Dak and pay
he wasn't a
CeeDee
Jerry
Lamb
original.
and that other guy. Yeah. Jerry's
Gallup.
like high on the guys that he brought in.
Jerry Lilly paid a guy coming up from ACL tear the same amount as he was paying Amari Cooper
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
and
But-
Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the top 14 that because the 15th player, Stephon Gilmore, is still a free agent because a lot of defensive backs are still free agents because I think a lot of teams are looking at cornerbacks and safeties in the draft.
Yeah. I think that after the draft or right around the draft, if things don't fall on the draft board the way that certain teams want, I think that's
Like
when
Buffalo.
you'll see a lot of that's when you'll see a lot of those other guys kind of move.
Yeah, so like I mean, the top 10, like I'll just go through them real quick. Taron Thompson, offensive tackle from the Saints, who the Saints are gutting their team again because they just put themselves in such a deep cap hell the last 2 years, and it's going to continue for the foreseeable future because they just keep on paying guys ridiculous amount of contracts. And I mean, it was so bad that Sean Payton walked away.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
I mean,
he's-
I didn't think he was gonna stay long
Oh.
after Drew Brees retired anyway.
I thought they'd be like Brady and Belichick retired together and they go in the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame together.
Yeah, Bill Belichick's like hell effing no.
Pretty much. Yeah. So Terry Harrison goes to the Dolphins, 5 years, $75 million for an offensive tackle.
Can't kill a Sith Lord.
That's actually a really good deal for Miami, price wise, I thought. Then probably one of the most talked about free agent ever, just mainly by me because I'm an a-hole like that. Some Von Miller guy went to Buffalo. 6 years, $120 million.
That's so much money.
Well, it's more like they said it's basically like a 4-year contract worth like 65
Yeah,
million.
because I was like, I don't think he plays 6 more years. I think he's put his body through. I mean, he's how old now?
33. He just turned 33.
Yeah, I don't think he plays till 39. I think
I-
4 years is much more
Yeah.
a valid expectation.
And the aforementioned Lovely Dorn Patriots lost, like I said, their best defender, J.C. Jackson, because he seems like he gets a pick a game. It seems like.
He's everywhere.
Yeah,
He's one of those guys that you could, as a quarterback, you look downfield, you throw to your receiver, or you look
And-
downfield, he's not there. You throw to your receiver,
and he's there.
Yeah,
J.C. Jackson went to the L.A. Chargers. Go
that's a good fit.
It really
Man,
is.
him and Derwin James locking
Yeah.
up that backfield. Whew.
And don't be surprised if they double down and get another cornerback and just build the nastiest core in football.
Well,
I mean-
defense. Look at what
The
they
division
look
you're
at-
in.
Exactly. Look at what you need. You will not be able to
And
compete,
they-
even without Tyreek Hill. You will
and
not
they
be able to
traded-
compete offensively.
And the Chargers even traded.
Defensively, you can
And the Chargers
make some
traded for
noise.
Khalil Mack too.
Yeah, which I like that as well.
Oh, I mean they're ready to take on.
And that's
Uh,
they know that that's what they have
even
to
with
do.
even when they assume that Tyreek Hill is going to be in Kansas City,
Right.
but now like, oh wait, they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's why I look at, and not to like jump to baseball just yet, but a perfect example is what the San Diego Padres last season tried to do to combat the offensive
combat the
firepower
Dodgers.
of the Dodgers when they signed Yu Darvish and Blake Snell. Like they literally were like, okay, we can't compete from a plate standpoint. We're gonna bring in 2 of the best pitchers to try to stop your hitters. Now, granted, it failed spectacularly. A large part of it because of Tatis getting injured, and like when you lose your
Isn't he still
star
hurt?
and potential MVP. Yeah, he's out till at least June. So it's Manny Machado. He's gonna have to hold down the fort. I don't know how well that's gonna go for them.
he's a
but-
defensive third baseman. He's not an offensive
Yeah,
player.
I mean, I'm more looking at well, we'll get to baseball, but I'm looking at a different team to kind of step in and fill that hole of where the Padres were meant to
Giants?
be. But yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
100% sold there. But yeah, this idea of what the Chargers are trying to do, I think in theory is a good idea. Whether or not it
well,
will
they got
work
their
in
quarterback on a
practice,
rookie deal. They've got receivers. They've got they're actually in really good shape to take on the
Yeah.
Chargers because they fought them, the Chiefs last year. They took them on and played them really well both times.
Yeah, no, I
And
think
now
the
no Tyreek
Chargers.
Hill.
I think the Chargers are definitely. I don't necessarily want to call them a sleeper team, but until the Chiefs prove otherwise that they can't win that division, every other team is going to be an underdog. But I do think that the Chargers are building up a unit, whether or not it happens this year or next year, but they're right there.
They were literally one field goal kick away from making the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they're right there.
Yeah, let's see. Back on Chandler Jones, like we talked about earlier, with him going to the Raiders, like just bolstering. They got a two-headed monster defensive end. Okay, they've bolstered their team too. Like every team in the AFC West got bad.
Yeah, I would say every team got better except for Kansas City. And the crazy thing is, though, even with Kansas City, because Kansas City was so far above those other teams,
they're still behind.
Yes, they didn't get better, but yeah, exactly. Everybody else took a step forward, but the Chiefs are still the ones to beat in that division.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only guy that stayed in the top five is defensive back Carlton Davis signed a 3-year, $445 million contract with 405. Wow. That's why we don't do morning shows, folks.
That's why you need a little bit of the coffee.
Stunts my growth. I told you that before.
The morning liquid courage. I think we're both at an age where the growth thing is what it is.
Well, you've been like that since like age 10. Let's just be real here. Sorry, I do tease Marilee for being short, which she really isn't that short.
I know, I'm like average height for a woman. A little bit below, but I think average height for a woman's like 5'5", 5'6". 5'4" and 3/4.
Yeah. Yeah, we still have to put a bell on her, and she has to go like for her boyfriend to go on the teacups at Disneyland, but we don't judge. It's okay. I make fun of every short person with that joke. Just don't feel like unspecial. We'll talk about big people in a little bit too, like my off camera. But yeah, Carlton Davis, the defensive back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, stayed put for 3 years and $45 million. Really good corner shutdown. Like I love it for them. They kept they've been really good at keeping talent. Can't argue. Brandon Sheriff went from the Washington Commander. I cannot say it. I really can't say Commanders. I'm sorry. It's just like sickening to me. Yeah, he went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. One of the many overpays for Shad Khan. He gave an offensive guard that's 30 years old, 3 years, and almost $50 million. Did we lose you? I hope you're not like yelling at your dog or anything like that. But Marcus Williams, another Saints casualty, like left the Saints and went to the Baltimore Ravens for 5 years and $70 million. And instead of keeping Von Miller, the LA Rams signed Allen Robinson for 3 years, $46.5 million. Holy cow! Like I'm actually reading this as is. Let's see what else. Randy Gregory was going to come back with the Cowboys. I'm sure Marilee will probably want to like laugh at the Cowboys for this one. So it was like literally seconds away until like he had like something in his contract that he didn't agree with Dallas, so he didn't stay put, and he decided to go to Denver last second for the same amount. 5 years, $70 million. Yeah, so it's just like it's crazy, like all these guys. I think we lost Marilee. I don't know. But yeah, it's been a crazy free agency period, and
yeah, still here, but my computer's about to die, so I'm looking for my charger.
Oh, okay. I was like, I think we lost Marilee.
It's probably upstairs. It's probably upstairs in like your like normal place where you do your podcast. Yeah, we were just having a little difficulty, but it's our show. Everything else, it happens all the time. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, let's see, where were we? Yeah, like Lakin Thompson got 3 years, 40 million, which is a much more reasonable deal for a guard. Of the same age as Brandon Sheriff. And one of the jaw droppers is Christian Kirk went to left Arizona for Jackson would hopefully be their number one receiver. I don't see it. I'm sorry, I really don't. For 4 years and 72 million, which was insane. I think we merely was talking about that. With how like the insane contract some of the receivers got, which was one of them. And then probably surprised like a lot of people, but not to me because I know his history. Hassan Reddick, old Arizona and Carolina Panthers edge rusher. He went to Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles for $15 million a year for the next 3 years. I mean, he went to Temple. I mean, he went home. And I'm sure Mary would like to comment on that. I mean, anything else like catch my eye? I mean, like I said, way before she was looking for a charger because her phone died, her laptop was dying. Like a lot of the players, like a lot of like the receivers and I said like a lot of like the safe defensive backs, like I said, like I haven't been signed unless you're like a top end one. Expect to lose Larry immediately, like 30 seconds. So yeah, it's like I mean we were going to talk baseball in WrestleMania, but we'll see if Marley H finds her charger or not. Because they definitely want to talk about WrestleMania with her. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm just looking at the deals. It's like I think bars are forgetting.
We're back in business.
Thank God.
I forgot I took a trip recently and I took my computer with me. The charger was still in my my luggage.
Well, that's a good place for it. At least you found it.
Joey Styles impression.
Oh boy. Should we put you in the crow's nest too?
So I missed a bunch of that, but I did hear the part about Randy Gregory, and yeah, I just want to chime in with a big old LOL to that situation. Hilarious.
Yeah, well, it's Jerry Jones signing putting offsetting language in a contract. It's like really?
Yeah, dumb, super dumb.
The only person that doesn't have the offsetting language is Dak.
Somebody like that should know better.
No, it's Jerry. He can't help himself.
It's Jerry World. But, yeah.
Well, it's not the Dallas Cowboys. It's Jerry Jones featuring the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's been like that since he bought the team.
And that is why the team has not won anything since days of when VCRs were popular and gas cost 40 cents a gallon.
Well, the thing is when he bought the team.
I mean, he's part of the reason why gas prices go up, Mr. I do oil.
Yeah,
prices.
I know.
Yeah,
but like I said, like the biggest non-surprise was Hassan Reddick going to the Eagles.
Going home.
I mean, yeah, because I think he's from Philly too. I mean,
He's from Philly. He went to Temple.
Went to Temple.
Yep.
Yeah, he's Philly through and through. Yeah, and for $15 million a year, no less. Like
yeah,
he could take it a little
big. That's a big signing for us in terms of it fills a.
I hope
need.
I just hope he doesn't have like a bad offseason. Like he doesn't get hurt or something like that.
True.
Well, I mean, like because I don't know if you've ever heard this. Do you know who Charles Bentley was?
No.
he was the center for the Saints who went to the Browns because like he didn't want to talk to anyone else.
Yeah.
He wanted to sign with the Cleveland Browns. The Browns were actually like, like the worst team in football, like in like 2004, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
He went there because he's from Cleveland. He played at Ohio State. He wanted to go home.
Yeah.
Like the first practice, he blows his knee out. It's a staph infection, has to retire.
Oh, don't put that out there in the universe.
It's already out there.
You hear me saying like, I hope Josh Allen hurts his leg and misses
That'd be
the
if he went
entire
to- that-
season. Like, come on now.
No, it's more so the fact that, like you said, he's from Cleveland. He was a hometown kid, like and
Yeah,
everything.
he tried to play and do the right thing, and it didn't
Yeah.
work out for him.
Yeah, let's see. I'm surprised Allen Robinson got like $15 million a year from the Rams because they couldn't sign Pete Von Miller, which is still weird. I'm sorry, it is.
But they're
really weird.
two very different signings, like
Oh,
very different.
Absolutely,
signings.
but I'm so surprised that he didn't stay in LA.
They got Allen Robinson because Odell Beckham hightailed his way back to the Giants, which
No, he's
now
still-
is a.
Odell's a free agent still.
Oh, I thought he went to the Giants. I thought I
No,
saw maybe they're talking about him going back.
The Giants, the Patriots, and I think the Bills have actually talked to Odell saying like, "Hey, do
Mm,
you want to come in?" Like, I mean, we got, and he won't be ready till like November. They're thinking
yeah,
because they had an injury during the Super Bowl,
he'd
which
be
is
dumb to go back to the Giants.
yeah, who's throwing the ball? I mean, it makes sense to go back to LA, which I still think it's a safe bet. I think he signs like, I mean, Buffalo comes in like he comes in November, goes like, oh, by the way, remember me?
Yeah, sign like a little 1-year deal with. I mean, you just won a Super Bowl with the team, so they haven't
Yeah.
really gotten any worse.
No, they really haven't.
I mean, there's even talk now that they might, because in LA, as we will learn when we get to baseball, sometimes the rich just get richer, and it's just completely unfair that they get richer. But there's even talk now that Tyrann Mathieu, that the Rams are closing in on potentially getting the
There's
Honey
a-
Badger.
well, because he backed out of the Ravens deal.
Right. But there's a
Like-
long list of teams that are interested in him, but
I'm
definitely
happy-
the Rams
uh,
are a big one on that list.
I'd be fine if he goes to the Rams because we only play him once every 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have him.
I'm floored that Kansas
I
City
think he's great.
didn't do everything to keep him. Like he's the biggest reason why that defense was like
I mean,
showed up
they
this year.
let him walk and they let Terry
Travaris
Hill
Ward.
walk. So they must be feeling
And they
that
let Travis
they
Ward
have
go to
enough.
I
Yeah,
think San
true.
Francisco.
that's
That's
true. I
what-
forgot that he left too. But they must be feeling like they have enough.
But the reason, my God, they need a defense. So it's like they're like for the. I mean, if you want proof how bad their defense, we talked about on our show how historically bad their defense was at the beginning of the year. Like
But
for
when you score as much as they do, it gets to a point where it doesn't matter. Like defense,
theoretic-
I don't think is why they lost.
but
I
but
don't
then
think
now
it's
you
their bad defense.
but
The
you
problem
also
with having a bad defense, though, is Patrick Mahomes can't have a bad day.
right.
Like he has no room for error. The guy is great. He's a generational talent. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. You can't lay that on somebody to say you need to
And-
play 17 games. They all need to be played above average, above league average. Because your defense is that bad.
And now you lost your heart
Yeah,
and
you
soul of
lost your
defense.
biggest weapon.
And you lost your heart, two of your best players in defense in your secondary, and half your secondary. Theoretically, I mean, he even said he's probably not going to be walking back in Kansas City.
Oh, jeez.
That's what Tyreek Hill said, or not Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill. Tyrann Mathieu. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's regardless where he goes. Yeah. There's that, and it's like, then you just traded away Tyreek Hill. Like, yeah, you congrats, you got another first round pick. But you're
Right,
gonna
but
get
like
who's gonna
Tyreek
replace him?
Hill is not an old, aging wide receiver that can't go anymore, that you're going to replace with potentially the next Tyreek Hill. You had one of the greatest wide receivers in
you
football.
had the best. You
Why
had
would
probably
you
the
risk that on
you probably had number
potentially
2 receiver in
somebody
football.
that's as good? Yeah, like you're talking about him, you're talking about Devonta Adams, you're talking about name is escaping me.
What team?
The guy with the Bills who used to be with the Vikings.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs. I kept wanting to say Trayvon Diggs, but that's the other guy.
Funny you mentioned both of them real quick. I don't know if
Yeah.
you saw what ESPN tweeted out.
No, I
like
did
about,
not.
about a week ago. This was not before Trayvon. I was when Stephon signed his extension yesterday. In case you didn't see,
I did.
which is hilarious because it came out across like at 7 in the morning. I'm like, God damn it, guys! Like they're working overnight. But like there's a tweet out, ESPN tweeted out. Wouldn't it be great if Stefan Diggs and Trayvon Diggs, if Stefan Diggs went to like Dallas Cowboys and played with his brother,
No.
Josh Allen? That's exactly what he spoke. He
Yeah,
retweeted. He
just
that's
no.
that's all he said was he just tweeted out no.
Yeah, no. No. Definitely
He-
not. Bad enough
Tra-
that Trayvon Diggs is in that division because he's
Tra-
very good. They are
but
both very
he's-
good players at their
Trayvon is-
positions.
But he's the most bipolar player in the NFL.
Oh, well, yeah, there is that. But when you play for the
No.
Cowboys, sometimes that comes with the territory.
Well, I meant more so the fact that he had 10 interceptions last year, but he also gave up the most yards too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you play with
Yeah.
the Cowboys, sometimes that comes with the territory because everybody's
maybe-
always big play, big play, big play. And he's one of those defensive players that
Or
is always trying to pick the ball. And when he doesn't pick the ball,
he gets
he's letting a
punished
guy
for it.
go off for a huge gain. Yeah.
Well, also I think he doesn't have like safety help in Dallas.
True. Yeah, he is literally, well, I mean, you've got Micah Parsons, which is somewhat of a help, but yeah, it's not that direct.
He was at WrestleMania too. Being
He
safe.
was at WrestleMania. And do
And
you
they
know what
were-
was my favorite part about
When they were booing Zeke?
WrestleMania? When they were booed in Dallas. I was sitting there. So I went and watched it in a movie theater. I did one of those
Nice.
things, which was also hilarious because there were like 5 of us there. It was great. Nobody,
That's even
nobody
better.
showed up. Yeah, like literally nobody showed up. It's hilarious because I've seen like 3 AEW pay-per-views in theaters now and packed. Totally packed. Like everybody's
Which
there.
is sad.
They're cheering, they're exciting, they're doing the chants. Like it's like you're at a show. Meanwhile, there's 5 of us in this theater, and it was just
it's-
empty and quiet and just it was hilarious.
It was sad because WrestleMania was a really good show this year.
Yeah, people missed out if they didn't watch WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that when they showed them on screen and people
They booed them.
it was
That's
literally
great.
like, yeah, Cody came back and Stone Cold had his first match in over a decade and all these other great
2
things that-
decades
and
almost.
like Logan Paul was actually good and the
Well-
Pat McAfee match was actually good and the
Well,
Jackass match was hilarious. But all of that, my favorite moment was Cowboys players getting booed in their own stadium.
My
Beautiful
friends
thing
are
to watch.
my friends are like diehard wrestling fans are like, yeah, why are these celebrities all some really good at wrestling? Like, I mean, because they're probably living in the performance center.
Yeah, because they're actually being trained now as opposed to before where
Just-
they would
you're an
literally
athlete.
just show up. Yeah, they
Yeah,
would just
you-
show up, but they're being trained. Like Pat McAfee was trained in part by Rip Rogers, and he was trained by
Sorry.
there was somebody else that they named, but I forget who
Yeah,
it
I
was.
forgot it was a guy
Yeah,
like in
like
Indiana
Bad
that did
Bunny
it.
trained at the performance center.
He was there for like
before his
3
match.
months for
Logan Paul he's the boxer, like he kind of has been doing all this training before.
But
And
I
you know,
think
the Jackass match, it was all gimmick. So it
well,
worked.
well,
But for
it's their
what that is, it made sense.
yeah. Well, let's just go to WrestleMania. We talked about free
Yeah,
agency.
yeah, we talked enough about football.
Yeah, WrestleMania. Like I thought it was one of the best WrestleManias in the last decade.
Easily.
Because like you mentioned the Jackass match, I was entertained. I mean, it wasn't great. I mean, I'm not what everyone was like. Oh, this is the greatest match ever. No.
No, but I was cracking up the whole time. Like,
Oh, I was laughing.
that
Man was the
an
MVP of
example-
the night. Man was great.
that was an example of when wrestling can be fun and it's done right. Because sometimes people try to do like these stupid, silly matches and it doesn't always go over. But let me tell you, Sami Zayn
with-
is a saint. That man sat in a giant mousetrap. Like that man is a serious wrestler. That man is a good wrestler. And he took all of that. He went through a table of mousetraps. He sat there and looked like a fool getting kicked by a kicker thing, like a kicker stand. He just took it all in stride. God love him. I liked Sami Zayn before. I have so much respect for him now.
Yeah, it was what it was. Like I mean, like I said, for the rest of purists, it was like, but I was like, I mean, Johnny Knoxville did like, I mean, he did everything right.
Right.
I'm surprised he took head kicks at all, like anything in the head at all.
Yeah, he took like some serious moves. Now, granted, he's a jackass guy,
But
so he's used to doing stunts.
but I think he had like a brain hemorrhage like a year ago or something like that.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, so it's even crazier. Like he took some of these bumps. That's why it sounds like holy crap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you trust a professional, a guy like Sammy,
I think that's
Who-
why they put him with Sammy. Like,
very much is a master of his craft. Yeah, I mean, and Sammy's kind of been the guy who's worked with, like he worked Logan Paul the last time around, so he must be somebody that they trust to get in the ring with these less experienced guys and be able to guide them through.
Yeah, they
As crazy as it is, it's like a bowling ball to the crotch, and you got Wee Man showing up.
I'm surprised they didn't have like a head chant after like the bowling ball with balls.
That
Because it was a very
would have been funny.
well, just because it was very, very Al Snow.
Right.
I
But
think
yeah,
someone asked.
on a card with so many good matches,
Like,
sometimes it's nice to have one of
it was-
those refreshers in there, especially because they ditched the Andre Battle Royal. So like this was just kind of your fun. This is where you're doing your spots. This is where you're having your your celebrity guests. Literally the entire cast of the Jackass movie was involved in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, it was a fun watch.
Yeah, like I said, WrestleMania was definitely solid. It was like I said, it had no business being that good.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be like a C, like an average WrestleMania. Then that Bianca Blair.
Yeah. I mean, night 2 was definitely the worst of the 2 nights, just in terms like the Edge AJ Styles match. I had very high hopes for that. It did
Just watch
not,
out for the sign, AJ.
That's the best part.
Yeah,
like-
he comes out. Gosh, it's backstage.
Yeah, like literally he had the cut on, and I said to my friend, I joked, I was like, someone should tell AJ, like AJ has been in this business long enough to know that you don't blade until the match starts. Like you don't blade before.
Yeah, don't do the Goldberg. Don't bang your head
But
against the
yeah,
block.
exactly. But yeah, like Edge's entrance was the best part of that match, and the whole,
that's-
kind of like Neo Brood 2.0 faction
3.0.
that they're
3.0.
3.0. Yes, my apologies. That they're working on
It's like a
with
corporate mystery with it's like the
him
mist.
and
Damian
Damian
Priest.
Priest and potentially Rhea Ripley. There's been some talk that she might be involved. There's
She'd
some
be
talk that
perfect for it.
Ciampa might be involved. So definitely like that's kind of intriguing. But the Edge AJ Styles match very much reminded me of the first time that Floyd Mayweather fought Manny
I
Pacquiao.
think-
It would have been a great match 10 years ago.
I think they're building. I think that's the first match they're having. I think they're having like another one, like it's SummerSlam or something like that.
Well, I hope that it's better. I hope that it's a little
It
bit
wasn't-
more. I mean, it was slow to start. It got there, but it was slow to start.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't the match they expected.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why, because I think they held it back because they're trying to make they're gonna do like a series of matches
They're
together.
trying to build to, yeah, and I mean that would make sense. Kind of the idea too, thinking like, well, now Edge has his groupie, so what are they gonna do with AJ? Is there gonna be some sort of Bullet Club, reunion, reformation, new Bullet Club? Finn Balor's still out there.
I would love to see like maybe him and
Give me
AJ.
I was gonna say, give me him and AJ and throw in a third unnamed. I mean, hell, you could even throw Cody in there for a match, and then you
Yeah.
got three former Bullet Club leaders. Take that, New Japan.
But yeah, so there's that. Like that was. I'm just playing on the rest of Freak. Like I said, Becky Bianca match. Holy crap, that was
Yeah.
great.
Fantastic, and honestly, give WWE a lot of credit. The build to that match. After Bianca lost, I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, there goes WWE. They're throwing away the chance to build another star." They built
made a star.
They made a star. Literally everything from, and Becky's such a great person to work with. I mean, she literally, like her and Belair have such good
The
chemistry.
whole hair thing threw me off, but like the whole hair cutting thing on Raw. I mean,
Yeah.
but like holy crap, her hair looked really, really good.
Oh, absolutely. But it definitely, that
Yeah.
definitely was a major match. I think Charlotte Ronda Rousey was
They-
good. It
I
didn't
think
meet the level of.
I think they're set
Belair.
for. I think they're set for another match.
They're definitely set up for another match.
I think Mark. I mean, this is me just boldly guessing the way they like the match ended. I think they're set up like a submission match and an I Quit match.
See, that to me would be better. Like that's better than doing just a standard.
Like an
because-
Extreme Rules.
Right, because you're looking at
Having
somebody like
I
a Ronda Rousey who that is her background, and Charlotte, she's the figure 4, the figure 8, whatever the heck she does now. But like that's a known. That would be like if you had Charlotte face Natalia and you didn't do a submission match.
I think didn't they do one or
They did, but that's kind of what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like if you had
Yeah.
said like, oh, it's just gonna be like a regular no,
Haven't-
you're talking about the sharpshooter and the figure 4, Ric Flair and Bret Hart. Like you can't not have that as a submission match. I totally see the same thing for Ronda and Charlotte.
And book it for Extreme Rules. There's your rematch.
True.
Or even WrestleMania Backlash. You know, all it is basically main event rematches anyway. So
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
why not?
Backlash is awful pay-per-view, but story for another day.
Yeah, if they do that, I'd watch it.
But yeah, so
And
like that match.
Don't have. I'd love to see it be an I Quit match, not being a submission. Just a
An I
submission
Quit match would be good too. If you feel like you can get that out of, with Ronda, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly the level of her training and how long she could go in a match like that. Because I Quit matches normally are pretty long.
The best person, the person that would love it more than anyone's the referee. Yeah, that trip. Okay, yeah. See what else is on the card. I watched it all. I watched WrestleMania.
So there was a tag team match that was okay.
Well, I felt bad, like the opening match you're talking
about. Well, the New Day.
Okay, yeah.
The Raw. No, not
what the hell happened.
Just New Day versus Sheamus and friends. It got bumped from the first night. It was supposed to be on the first night, and then they just kind of like shoehorned it in there on the second night.
It gave him like 90 seconds.
Yeah, it really wasn't. There wasn't much to it. I mean, Xavier like did some Big E spots. They did the dance. They talked about how like, oh, their gear was an homage to Big E. Blah 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 blah. And then Sheamus and friends win. So it was just weird. I don't understand. Like it very much gives off, and I was saying this to a friend of mine. Sheamus's group gives off like Gangs of New York vibes.
Yeah,
or like old school Newsies. Like Butch is like totally out of the Newsies with his stupid little hat and
he's criminally insane.
Yeah, like friggin' Pete Dunne. But like it works. It makes sense. It works. The name is terrible, but it works for the Gangs of New York kind of style that they're going for. Or like Gangs of Ireland in this case.
Well, and then the SmackDown. I mean, I felt bad for Rick Boogs.
Yeah.
Just rupturing his patella, his quad.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to go.
I mean, the crazy thing was like, I don't know if you've actually researched him. He's actually a legit wrestler too. They got a lot.
No,
like,
I didn't know that.
He went to Nebraska. He's like a legitimate like Division I wrestler.
Okay.
So he's not just like he actually does not really know how to play the guitar. He's more like he's actually like a legit wrestler.
The guitar is the best part. The entrance is the best part. And Pat McAfee's dancing on the table and like
absolutely.
About it.
Pat McAfee's like the MVP of WWE now.
100%. I'm so glad that they brought him in. He's great on commentary. His match was fun.
Michael Cole had the quote of WrestleMania. I'm sorry.
Which one?
When he said, "Even I didn't do that." When Pat McAfee commentated during his match, he's like, "Even I didn't do that."
Because all the time it's like Pat McAfee wins this match, he will join only one other person in being undefeated at WrestleMania. And he's like, and that's me. Yeah, no, Michael Cole was like, that was to me, that was the match I felt that he commentated the best because it was just having fun. He was just out there having fun.
And he's being a total homer.
Yeah, exactly. He was like literally he didn't even care that he was like hardcore cheering for Pat and like Byron's like, oh, it's like, well, Austin Theory and Mr. McMahon and Mr. McMahon, like so.
You know, he's a dude, Michael, it can cost you your job.
Yeah, exactly. But Michael Cole's screw you, Byron. I think I'm good.
I think Culture said I've been here since '97. Well, yeah, I think I'm safe.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've taken shits older than you, Byron, like all that stupid stuff that people say. But yeah, I mean, the celebrity matches this year, I think, were the best that they've ever been.
Well, it's a combination of them taking it seriously. Like all three of them have.
Yeah. But like to see like, and the fact that, I mean, the Pat McAfee one, like it wasn't a tag team match. And that's when I think you really get it out of.
I mean, he did a street fight so you can smoke
it. Yeah, like you can hide a deficit in a tag match. You can if it's a straightforward. And when he did that jump up from
the moonsault.
No, literally when he jumped up from the apron onto the top rope. It's like that is incredibly impressive athleticism from
especially for a punter. Yeah, I said the same thing. It's like this guy's I said a punter at some agility.
Yeah, from a punter. But poor Pat, 1-1 at WrestleMania. Had to take the L to the boss. But I mean, that guy, he must have been out there living his dream. He got to wrestle
he was loving
at WrestleMania, then he got to
Oh,
lose to Vince
he-
McMahon, take a
he-
stunner from Austin that he had no idea was
did you see
coming.
him? Did you see what he did afterwards? He was on the
And
floor
he's out.
drinking.
He said on the show the next day that he was still hungover from drinking 30 beers.
I'm surprised he drinks it all.
Yeah.
Which potty
No,
smokes.
that was the best camera cutaway
Yeah.
that I've ever seen. Was him on the ground, still selling the stunner.
Drinking.
God love Pat McAfee. Great.
I'm surprised he doesn't want to become like full time like wrestler. I mean, he could do it. He's only like 20. He's only like 31.
Yeah, he's
young.
still young, and I mean he might wrestle
He-
more matches.
I'm sorry.
He acquitted himself well.
Speaking of, I'm sorry. No disrespect to Steve Austin. No disrespect to the Undertaker. I think Pat McAfee had the loudest pop of the whole WrestleMania. He was way up there
He definitely was up
because
there. I still think
because
the
of his
pop,
music.
though, when Austin said that he was going to wrestle was bigger. Like when Austin first came out, not so much. But when people
Yeah, we-
realized that it wasn't just a talk show and he was actually going to wrestle, I think that was the
He
pop of the
didn't-
night.
I would say for his age, for not doing it for 20 years.
Not bad at all.
No, I'll take it.
Little rusty, little gun shy at first, but
Then he took a suplex outside.
yeah, he was willing to go there and do the match and give fans what they wanted. And I think to him as well, to be able to, everybody looks at the idea of when you can't walk away on your own terms. And
Yeah.
his was kind of a situation of basically being told like your neck is screwed up. You can't wrestle anymore. You shouldn't wrestle anymore.
Well, for what the backstory of 19, really crap. Like I don't know how he made it to the match. I don't know if you like when with him in the hospital the morning of,
Oh wow, no, I didn't know that.
because he was pounding like energy drinks and coffee all like because he couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Like he literally, I think he had like a high heart rate because obviously if you drink energy drinks, your heart
Right.
rate scores. But I think he said something he had like 5 or 6 like Red Bulls and he was drinking coffee. It's like, God, you didn't kill yourself.
Jeez. Yeah, that's intense.
But yeah, but the fact that Pat McAfee came out to 7 Nation Army, like perfect because
Yeah.
all my friends are wrestling fans or Bills fans were like, hey, come out to our kickoff song. We know it's like every team's kickoff song.
Yeah, that is literally like the most
I think that's
sports song of all time.
Well, I think that's why I think they chose it because he was the kickoff specialist.
Probably.
To get the crowd into it, and it worked.
Yeah, and they had the
it-
Cowboys cheerleaders there, and yeah, he
They
had a
should
nice little
they
entrance.
should have snuck the Colts Steelers out. Honestly, they should have.
I said that too. I was like, that would have been cool, but I get it. It's you're already in Dallas, the world famous
well,
Cowboys cheerleaders.
Well,
and
that and
whatever.
they're yellow, they're white and blue anyway, so they're the same color.
Yeah.
So
yeah, true. Easy enough to kind of conflate them. But no, that match was good. Like we talked about, the Jackass match was just fun. Where
that
it needed
triple
to
threat
be
tag
fun.
team match for the titles. Holy
The triple
crap.
threat tag team match for Raw was much better than I even expected.
They have all 3 of those teams have chemistry together.
I
don't-
really thought that Street Profits were gonna win. I was
Yeah.
not expecting RK Bro to, but hey, I mean,
that
they're
RKO that Riddle did.
impressive. Still
Speaking
not my
of
favorite.
crazy,
My favorite is still the curb stomp RKO. I think that's still my favorite from
Oh, absolutely.
WrestleMania. But the way that one played out, like that is impressive.
yeah,
Not
Especially
easy
from
to do it all.
and it's not from Randy Orton. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying Randy could do it, but
Yeah, but
could do
from
it.
somebody
But
who hasn't spent 20 years of their career literally mastering this move, like
from an MMA fighter,
Riddle literally started doing it like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, definitely good. It was very impressive how he did that. But yeah, that match was good. Other Raw tag team match or the Sheamus the New Day thing, that was not great. The SmackDown tags I think were good, but not to the level of.
I think Boosh doesn't hurt his leg. Or the women's.
yeah.
the women's-
they couldn't do as much as I think what they had wanted to.
If
The
they
women's
if they
tag match.
it was fine. I mean, if they actually cared about women's tag team wrestling.
You know what's the best part about the women's tag match? Corey
What was
Graves on commentary.
Oh, the love fest with the basically
That was the best part of the match.
basically promising like a live sex
And how they
celebration with
kept
Carmella.
showing his face. I'm like, oh, he's shocked and awe. I'm like, no. And the fact that she wore the Cody Rhodes mask, not to mess
Yes.
with her face, I loved that. That was really funny. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they need to care about women's wrestling. And there was an article I was reading the other day that was like WWE just rebuilt their women's tag team division and they're already tearing it down again because they're splitting teams up and they're like, it's just it's a shame. They have a lot of talented wrestlers who, since their women's title scene at any one point seems to only be like 4 or 5 women, because they just don't. That's it. That's not who they want to make popular. But yeah, the tag team
Well,
is an
I think a lot of it has
opportunity.
to do with just Triple H not being there.
I think that's part of it, but I don't even know how much he was really involved at the main
He-
roster level for
he-
the women. Like I
He
know
did
he
the
was really involved in NXT.
he was the MVP of night 2, I think, too. The way he handled it too.
Yeah.
With his like he left his boots in the ring.
Oh, I liked that. Yeah, I thought that was really, really
and
nice.
the fact that he only did like a 3-minute speech. It's
Yeah.
Triple H here.
Yeah.
It's like it'd be like if the NWO came out and said thank you and left.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. Like I was expecting him to like take a 10 minutes and like all that, but nope, he did the entrance. He said thank
I don't know
you.
if he
Put his
can.
boots down, and well, true. That's
Like
true.
he doesn't want to hype himself up too much. I mean, because like such like,
Yeah.
like which if you didn't hear like
Yeah, he almost
wait.
died.
yeah, it was way worse than like everyone thought.
Yeah, I listened to his thing with Stephen A. when he was
I will-
like
they
literally.
mentioned. I don't know if you listen to Jason Solomon at all, the Solomon Monster. He actually like,
No.
he like I mean Triple H just healed through the end because he had to go to Stephen A to announce his retirement. So I had to watch Stephen A.
That's great. Heel to the end. That's pretty funny.
Because everyone hates Stephen A. So he has to go out and
Yeah.
watch his show to watch his retirement speech, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, for everyone that doesn't know, like Triple H had to retire because I sounds like he had the Widowmaker.
He literally was like life or death. Like
I mean, we've talked about it off camera because you were there, and I'm still beyond thankful for almost 4 years ago now. But like I had to deal with that stuff with my dad. Like this, you're watching the percentage. This is before he passed away, but like I remember seeing like the percentage. He was down to like Triple H level. He was down to like 12%.
yeah, it's like the heart can't possibly function
Yeah.
at that level. And I mean, it's kind of one thing they
It's-
say about athletes is they're more likely to be able to survive those kinds of things because
Because
they
their physical
put
rigors.
exactly. They put their body through this, and like this is not the first time that granted, like he never had a massive cardio episode before, cardiac, going to cardiac arrest or whatever, but the level of rigor and athletic, what everything that he put into what he did, like that does, as much as you feel the effects of it after you retire, it does put your body in a position where you are stronger in some ways. You are able to kind of survive things that maybe other people wouldn't.
I expected him to be smaller, to be honest with you, when I saw him.
Yeah.
Between I thought it'd be like 220 pounds, like lost weight because
Well, it takes a while for the effect of steroids to wear off.
But
Look
I
at
don't
freaking
think.
Vince McMahon. Dude definitely pumped up before that match.
Oh, absolutely he did. Well, you didn't hear what he did to Pat McAfee, did you?
No.
Like he sent him a video, a video with Matt at 7, like 3 a.m. saying, "I'm coming for you." He was like he was squatting like 1,000 pounds.
Jeez, my gosh, the man is insane.
Well, he always was a workout guy like that, though. That's the thing.
Oh yeah.
But like Triple H, yeah. Well, speaking of steroids, yes, he was on them. He'll probably even admit to you he was.
Yeah.
Like 02, definitely. Like,
yeah,
but this hard
back then, like.
But I was like the hard thing is not a steroids related thing at all. Like he even was pretty open about it. Like it was like his father had, his grandfather has. I think one of his uncles had it too.
Yeah, his is genetic.
Yeah, it's like heavily genetic. Like he's like, I think his dad had the same thing at like 62, like 10 years older than he is.
Yeah.
I think his grandfather died from it like at 50.
Yeah, so definitely like it puts things into perspective, and you're like, this is not worth. Like I have 3 young daughters. I have this is not.
Yeah,
worth.
but the problem is his daughters are like, I mean, okay, not to be insensitive, like his daughters are teenage years. Like I think his oldest daughter's like 16 now.
Sure, but they're still young kids who you don't want to risk wrestling that could potentially kill you when you have
especially
a family, you have children, you have a wife, you have a business that you can still be involved in.
I still find like it's like I think we talked about off the air too. It's like how like Stephanie and Shane, like Stephanie's got all the Stephanie's got all the
Yep,
boys.
she's got all the girls. Shane's
Girls,
got all
she's
the
got all the
boys.
boys.
Yep.
Man,
that
those are
is-
some wonky genetics.
Wrestlers have, I swear to you, wrestlers have daughters. I don't know why.
Unless
But
you're
you
Roman
look at
Reigns.
so many of the examples of like that they're having more girls than they're having boys, and I don't know. It just
Except for Roman Reigns, who's got like was it? I think he's got a boy, a set of twin girls. I think it's supposed to twin boys.
yeah, twin girls, twin boy. I think the last ones were twin boys, but yeah, like
That's
again,
crazy, though.
started off with 3 girls. Seth Rollins had a girl. Jeff Hardy has all girls. Matt Hardy has all boys, but like
Well, that's because
It's-
Maxwell's.
it's so much. There's a lot that I don't know. It's unexplainable. Randy Orton has girls. Like Triple H
I think
has
for Randy Orton that's just karma.
Probably, yeah. He probably had to learn how to be a girl dad, and now
Yeah,
he's got like 3 stepsons. So
Yeah.
go figure. But yeah, it's definitely. I always found that fascinating, looking around and seeing the amount of wrestlers. Like that's why the next generation, for so many of them, are daughters because wrestlers have girls. It's just the way it is.
Hulk Hogan,
but yeah.
number one. Sorry,
Yeah,
I had to-
WrestleMania was definitely one of the better ones.
I-
You know, we
I have
talked
no
about
complaints.
pretty much all the matches. You know, of course, you have to go to what I think was probably, granted, the Austin match gets a lot of love for sentimental reasons and the fact that he was able to come out near 20 years later and wrestle a match again. But I think the match of the weekend, I think you got to go Rollins Rhodes.
Oh God, yeah.
Like that was incredible for 2 guys who I don't believe. Well, they may have worked together like way back, but it was a very
I don't
different
think they
Cody
did.
Rhodes. That's what I was trying to remember, if the Shield and him and Dustin ever worked. But
Yeah,
even
they
if they did
Yes.
back then,
'Cause
it was a
in Buffalo.
very different. Yeah,
It was
a
in Buffalo because that's how they reinstated Dusty to WWE. Remember?
that's right. Yep, if they won that match, yeah. But that
It was
was
Dusty
a
and-
very different Cody and a very different Seth. You know, those 2, they
Seth
clicked.
Seth was ascending like this.
Yeah.
Cody was like this.
Yeah, starting to like this, but yeah, I mean, Cody's a much better wrestler than he was then, and Seth Rollins, I think, is doing some of the best work that he's done since his days as being champion the first time. You know, it worked. It was a well fought match. I think it went like 20 something minutes.
Yeah, it was. Well, you got to think of it. It's
The
like
crowd was hot
you-
for it, of course,
you
because
got- they didn't. I'm surprised they didn't troll the crowd.
like I thought they were going to as
I thought they
well.
would bring out Shane McMahon. No, I thought they would bring out Shane McMahon because they brought out every other McMahon.
Yeah,
to,
and
like,
that
say
was
thank you
that
for
was
WrestleMania.
basically the backup plan that they had
No,
Shane
I-
in case Cody Rhodes,
I-
you know, changed his mind.
I was supposed to have Shane come out and introduce Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, because he was technically speaking.
was
like,
there.
Cody was or not introduced, but Cody was brought to this match as the hand-picked opponent for Seth Rollins by Vince McMahon. So it wouldn't have been all that crazy to have Shane be the one to like usher him out. But yeah, I mean, and
Well,
then
for the
Seth's reaction I thought was great. How he's like laughing and then he gets into like real serious like. But
he's like,
yeah,
oh,
I
man.
mean, the story of it too, the idea
Well,
of
the Dusty, he's a Dusty disciple now. And,
right, both of them kind of came up through Dusty's tutelage, and you know, Seth being the guy who stayed and who was Mr. WWE, and he was the one who was in all the interviews fighting back and everything that like Cody was doing elsewhere, and now Cody comes home and you know it's still like I think what those 2 are going to do, because again I don't think that is over by any stretch
No.
of the imagination, especially now that there's a potential for an interim champion. I think that's probably your interim. Well, no, because you don't want to have Cody lose. So if Cody's going to win the interim champion, then yeah, that's your match, Cody versus Seth. But they'll definitely fight again. But yeah, WrestleMania overall, I think was a really good show. You know, there was a lot of other stuff going on throughout the weekend. I think the
Yeah.
other, probably the biggest other show that was going on was the new Ring of Honor. You know, Tony Khan purchased Ring of Honor,
Yeah.
and basically it's now like NXT for AEW, kind of. It seems like in that way, even though they're separate entities and you know have
I-
separate titles, but there's a lot of crossover. And you know, one
Yeah, like-
thing, I don't know if you saw the match, but if you haven't, go out of your way to watch FTR versus the Briscoes. it's gotten so much love. I mean, people are saying one of the best tag team matches that they have ever seen. Like
But
it
on the
was
condition-
a really good match.
On the condition I don't have to watch last night's match, apparently. 'Cause I won't
don't.
watch.
You don't have to watch last night's match. No, I
Yeah,
decided
Sierra versus
against
the Bucks. Come on.
that. Yeah,
God,
seen it,
why-
been there, done that. Got the T-shirt, threw it away, saw it again. But yeah,
Burn it.
like FTR Briscoes. That's worth watching.
I would not treat Ring of Honor as a developmental talent. I would do away with it, to be honest with you.
You can't.
No, but keep like aspects of it.
Mhm.
Like have like the AEW Pure division. Bring it back.
See, I like the idea of Ring of Honor as a standalone entity. What I would advise against is it basically turning into developmental or being like an AEW Dark. Like you do want it to have some of its own talent. There's a lot about Ring of Honor. Now, granted, probably the main reason why Tony bought is for the video library. Like
Oh, absolutely.
let's not kid ourselves. That video library was worth its weight in gold for both AEW or WWE. Like that is where Ring of Honor's value lied. But being able to keep it as an active running
Because-
promotion, it
well,
offers
yeah.
opportunities to some of their other wrestlers. Like AEW has a roster of 1,000 people, so now they have another. Although, granted, so far they're just picking the same ones to be
30.
on the same programs all the time. Yeah, like the same 30.
And
but
add
yeah,
Samoa
like they
Joe
have
for fun.
so many people. Yeah, exactly. But I think there's opportunity there for Ring of Honor to kind of ultimately delve into that place where some of their other wrestlers can work. And Ring of Honor is more marketable to television than maybe a Dark or a Dark Elevation might be. So there's potential to get those guys
I
TV
would-
time as well. I think it's a net positive for the industry.
Like you said, the main reason is the tape library, because it's think about it, what highlights are they going to show of Punk and Danielson?
Right. Now you can. Now you own it all. You have all in. Your spiritual beginning you now have.
Yeah, you got your
Like
origin story.
imagine if WWE owned that.
I'd laugh.
Like
Be cool.
WWE owns All In. They put it on Peacock. Like just as like an FU.
Oh, I guarantee you've been thinking about it.
Yeah. So they almost bought it. There was definitely talk, and I mean they would have shuttered it 100%. They literally would have bought the rights just to have the tape library.
And they would have no reason to bring it back.
No, it wouldn't have made sense. I feel like it does make more sense, at least for AEW.
I'm surprised they almost tried to split it up and try to sell as two separate things between the tape library and like the company itself.
The company itself probably had like zero value. So I think
Well-
that's why you package it in with the tape library, and then it becomes whatever you want to do with it. Like it's yours to do what you will.
Yeah, because I could see Vince is like firing all of them except for like 3 guys. And you can go to AEW. I don't care.
Yeah, Vince would be like, I like you. That's it.
Well, which would be fine then. Like, okay, make yourself a star in AEW, then come here.
True. Yeah.
But,
Go
like-
out there or go on the indies, apply your craft to convince me that you're worth signing.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been probably the better way to handle WCW, but we won't go there.
Yeah, true. Imagine if they had, done that with WCW, then AJ Styles might have been in WWE quite a long time ago.
You may have not heard of him in NWA.
That's true. And I mean, but if you think about it, imagine he does go straight to WWE or he does the indies a little bit and then goes to WWE. Does he ultimately become the AJ Styles that we know? Because we
Good
know
question.
that WWE, a lot of good wrestlers, there's, again, there's not a large enough, there's a very small, you would think 5 hours of TV a week is not little, but comparatively with all the people, like AJ Styles, he was kind of a small guy. He could do some stuff, but I think he probably ends up fading away in an era where there's no NXT. I think he ends up fading away, and maybe you don't get that same AJ Styles. Who knows?
Yeah,
all kinds
don't,
of the
like-
world is full of what ifs.
Yeah, we can do what ifs for like
Yeah.
years
Oh, yeah,
if we want to.
literally.
I have the list somewhere. I
Yeah.
made like what ifs in wrestling, and we should probably do it sometime.
Yeah, that would be fun to just kind of do a what if
Like,
for wrestling, like how the Marvel
I
kind of did that show.
Yeah, but I've got like 40.
Oh, well, we might have to break that down into maybe we do a couple
Like
each
3 a show.
or something. Yeah. But yeah, before we go, I do want to get into baseball just a little bit for like
But no one cares about your
15
Phillies.
15 minutes that we have left. Listen, I did not wear this for the entire show to not talk about baseball at all. Okay, this was all intentional.
We can talk about every team but the Philadelphia Phillies. How about that?
Fine, we'll talk about every team but the Phillies. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Go.
So, running through very quickly, just because we are a little bit pressed on time, and we'll be talking baseball, I mean, all season long. This is just the beginning. Today is obviously opening day. Very exciting. A month ago, we didn't think that this would happen. We were still looking at
Or be
games
late.
that started to be canceled. Things did not look good between the Players Association and the owners. But lo and behold, a deal was struck. 162 game season to be had. There will be extended playoffs. They originally looked like they were getting rid of the Ghost Runner. Now the Ghost Runner's back. Not too happy about that. DH, universal DH, that's definitely, I think, a big story. And you saw that a lot.
I don't hate it. I think
I don't know.
I think
Not a fan.
I think either you do universal DH or just don't go back to no DH at all.
Oh no, the DH I like. Oh, I thought you were saying you don't hate
No,
the
no.
Ghost Runner on second.
No, I hate the Ghost Runner. I hate it. They even do it in minor leagues. Just get rid of it.
It's dumb. It's stupid. But yeah, no, I think DH is great. I think it does. It makes sense to have it at both levels. And like you said, either you do universal or you don't do it at all. But you definitely saw, I think with the National League in particular, in the off season, which was one of the, we talk about the football off season, the baseball off season was even crazier in my mind because it all developed over like 2 weeks. Literally, you went from, if you were able to sign guys before the lockout, but then you had the lockout, you had about a week before spring training, and literally it was just such a frenzied, stuff was happening all the time. Guys were moving, there were tons of big deals, all kinds of crazy things going on. But you saw, particularly with the National League, teams addressing that DH position. So if they didn't already have somebody in-house that they were going to promote, they went out and got somebody. And, as I briefly mentioned earlier, the rich getting richer. One of the biggest deals of this offseason was a team that did not need another really good offensive player going out and getting a really good offensive player when the Dodgers got Freddie Freeman.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, come on. That lineup is stupid. Like, it is not fair.
I'm still hoping that, I'm sorry to cut you off really quick, but I'm still hoping to do that whole trip, if it happens.
Yeah.
I might add. I may have added a leg onto it possibly. So
oh gosh, of course you did.
Well, the thing though is there's an Angels game like Tuesday. There's a Dodger in LA in Anaheim. There's a Dodgers game, for like Wednesday. Bills Rams game Thursday, and there's a Padres game Friday.
Oh, that'd be pretty good. Hit all those LA, San Diego teams. Yeah.
I did it 3 years with my mom.
Yeah.
Dawson's true. And speaking of the Dodgers, here's a crazy stat about the Dodgers that I don't think you know. So they've been there for 60 years, right?
Yeah.
You know how many rainouts they've had?
I don't know.
12.
That's insane. Wow.
12 in
That's
60
crazy.
years. So 60 times between 81
60
and
times exactly. Yeah.
81 or 74 depending on the year. Yeah, 12.
So about 12 rainouts in
a year from
14,000 games.
Yeah, 12.
Wow.
Sorry, go ahead.
Incredible. Yeah, but the Dodgers, stupid, unfair. And it's not even just the offense is good. Their pitching is still good. So I'm looking at a team that could well contend for that Mariners win total record. I think the Dodgers are in position to do that. Kind of going around the league.
Except they probably will win the World Series if they do that.
Yeah.
Unlike the Mariners.
Well, yeah, that is true. The Mariners who now have the longest playoff drought in baseball at 20 years.
It's in competitive sports. It's not just baseball.
Oh, it's competitive sports. That's crazy.
Yeah, the Bills only won 17. Thank you.
Yeah, it's always good not to be that one at the bottom. But yeah, just kind of going around the league. The Braves lost Freddie Freeman, but it's kind of addition by subtraction in some way because they went and they got Matt Chapman, I think it was, or Olsen or somebody. They basically like Freddie Freeman left and they replaced him right away with somebody. They're getting Acuna back, so they're still looking like they're going to be a good team. The Mets made some major moves, bringing in Scherzer. As we talked about before we went on air, their opening day starter though is Tyler Megill. For their opening night, that game got moved to tonight because of the forecast in
The rain, right?
parts of New York. So yeah, that's our like night opening day game. But yeah, I mean injuries. That's what's gonna prevent the Mets, I think, from doing anything necessarily big this year.
Or because of the Mets,
Well, also, yeah, Mets gonna Mets. The NL Central, looking like the Brewers are gonna do it again. The Cardinals are kind of a solid team, but it's hard to know what to make of them because they were not good for periods last year, and then they were the hottest team in baseball, and so definitely, I think the NL Central is gonna be. It's always interesting. I mean, outside of the Pirates and possibly the Reds this year, you're looking at a division that is normally like 1 through 4 are always so close. And then you just have Pittsburgh, which, maybe one day they'll be good. The best thing I can say about Pittsburgh this year is the projections do not have them losing 100 games.
But based
That's
on
the best thing I can say about Pittsburgh.
But I would say besides the 10,000 simulations that got them in the playoffs, that they're never going to live down ever.
No.
I mean, the best thing about the Pirates is their stadium.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a great
amazing.
stadium. But they just,
Promise,
I don't understand. Put any other team there, it would be great.
They'd sell it every night.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't understand how futility has existed that long. Like I get low payroll, I get all that, but you kind of turn the corner and go to the AL East and look at what the Tampa Bay Rays have been able to do with a low payroll. Look at times what the Athletics have been able to do with a low payroll. Look at what the Marlins have even recently been able to do with a low payroll. Something has to give for the Pirates.
I mean, the Rays are a mess.
Yeah.
As a whole, not the team. Like on the field, on the field they're amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like they won't give them a new stadium. They won't do this. They won't.
Yeah,
do that.
Yeah. How they still somehow managed to win 90 games.
Which the craziest thing about I don't know if you saw did you see the attendance number for AL that game they had to play the playoffs versus the ALCS?
Oh yeah, for a team that was that good, the fact that they had
couldn't sell
0 people there.
They had 19,000 people for an ALCS game.
Yeah, absolutely horrendous. The Rays need to be treated with more respect. Like, I'm sorry, I get the Tampa Bay, you're not going there to watch baseball, but your baseball team has been one of ever since they went to the World Series in 2008, they have won 90 games, like 12 of the last 17 seasons. It's crazy. It is crazy. And they're a team that has been so good despite every 4 or 5 years having to start over because they can't afford to keep their best players. They can't afford to keep the BJ Uptons and the Evan Longorias and the Blake Snells and all these guys.
They're the new Marlins.
They are in a lot of ways. And, the Marlins, again, I think are another team that has shown that they're able to find, it's farm system. It's all about farm system. If you have a good enough farm system, you can definitely next man up. But the Rays, they're in the conversation this year. The Yankees, I think you always have to keep them in the conversation. Yeah, I mean, they went and they got Rizzo. They went and they got Gallo. They're shoring up the bats a little bit.
And they kept Rizzo.
They kept Rizzo, but shoring up the bats a little bit. Pitching is still a little bit of a question mark behind Garrett Cole. Severino, what's he going to be? What's he not going to be? But I got to tell you, I think, and you'll appreciate this as somebody who's basically your baseball team is their farm system. Toronto Blue Jays, I think this is their year. I hope
so.
The bats are there. The pitching is there. They went and they did a lot in the offseason to show that they're committed to winning and they're committed to winning now.
I'm just sad they won't be in Buffalo this year.
Yeah, well, they had to go home eventually.
Yeah, and plus this way flat ground doesn't almost kill someone.
Yeah.
As I think we talked about on our show. I don't know if we did or not.
I think we did a little bit, yeah.
But when you hit a 480-foot home run and clear the 35-foot net.
Yeah. Minor league stadiums are not they can't hold flat in.
But it was the fact that he hit the ball 480 feet. He crushed the ball.
Oh yeah, that's out anywhere.
Yeah, and the problem is like when you put a highway next to the stadium,
Right.
and a ball bounces and hits a person's window.
But yeah, they're
They're
definitely
good.
They're good. I mean, that's gonna be a tough. It's gonna be a tight division between those three teams. I think.
I hope I get to go to. I hope I get to go to Skydome this year.
Yeah, but I do think that the Blue Jays are gonna come out on top. I mean, if they don't, then it's not for lack of talent because the talent is there, like up and down that lineup.
Oh,
You're
God,
talking
yeah.
about Vlad, you're talking about Bo Bichette, you're talking about George Springer, like up and down that lineup.
Kevin Biggio, like
super talented. So they're definitely a team to watch. I think looking at the odds, the Dodgers were 1, the Blue Jays were 2, and then it might have been the White Sox with the third best odds. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
I'm giving you FanDuel odds as we speak.
Yeah. So I mean, there's
Once
definitely
I find it.
like because I mean, and I think another story. I think one of the other big stories to
Yeah.
watch this year is going to be
the
in the
top
AL
five.
West. Yeah.
Top 5 is Dodgers, Blue Jays, White Sox, Astros, Braves.
Yeah. Gosh, the Astros. Everybody. I think people want the Astros to be bad so much because it will validate the fact that they were only good because they're cheating or because they were cheating. But honestly, that team did not need to cheat. Their players still good. Even without the Carlos Correa this year, even without Carlos Correa, the Astros are still good. But I think, to kind of like close out here, the biggest story that I'm really paying attention to is going to be the AL West. And it's not so much, the Astros, it's what are the Angels? Are they finally going to live up to their potential? I was reading something the other day and it was shocking to me. And it was like, ever since Mike Trout was drafted, he has 2 MVPs. He has silver sluggers. He has, batting titles. He has all-star appearances. And the Angels have 1 playoff appearance, 1 to show for it. How do you have the best player in a generation?
You have 2 generational talents on your team.
And now you have 2. Plus, add in Anthony Rendon, who is not bad at all.
And Shohei Ohtani.
Team. Well, yeah, Shohei's the other generational player for sure. But add in all of that. How has this team not been better? Even when they had Albert Pujols, when he was still supposed to be Albert Pujols, the Angels are the biggest disappointment, I think, in baseball, solely because of what they have, what they should be, and the fact that they have wasted 10 years of Mike Trout's career with this. But the man decided he wanted to play for the money. He could have gone elsewhere. He could have. There were open doors.
You got the same amount of money.
There were open doors for him to go. I mean,
New York, LA, even staying in LA.
Honestly, even going to Philadelphia was a real possibility because that we talk about players wanting to go home. He's a season ticket holder for the Eagles. That's home for this guy. Millville, New Jersey, not that far away. But Bryce Harper was trying to recruit him. Bryce Harper is great. Bryce Harper is the best recruiter among players.
Could you imagine that having two guys with 13-year contracts that are ironclad that you can't get out of?
Yeah, and still underachieving and still missing the playoffs.
Yeah. You spent $1 billion on 2 players.
That'll be like this year. You got Bryce Harper, you got JT, you got Rhys Hoskins, you got Nicky Castellanos, you got Kyle Schwarber. That's pretty good 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Possibly could still miss the playoffs because they didn't do a dang thing about pitching. Still one of the worst bullpen. They got
Tony pitching is overrated.
That's okay. Tell that to the world's worst bullpen of the last couple of years, and that being the difference. Losing 1-run games being the difference between the Braves and the Phillies making the playoffs.
I was gonna say just ask the Mets.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely those things going on. But yeah, there's a lot of, I think, intrigue. I think people are just excited for baseball to be back. I'm personally excited. I will.
Yeah, you're going to opening day tomorrow.
I kind of love the fact that it worked out that the Athletics are the opening day because you're talking about the
Philadelphia
former Philadelphia teams. Yeah, we don't see the Athletics
nice
all
touch.
that often. I think there should be how the Mets and the Yankees have the Subway Series. I think the Phillies and the Athletics should play every year. I think that should be our there's no other AL team that I can look at and say oh, it makes sense to have a rivalry.
Yeah,
there's a built-in rivalry with the Athletics.
Yeah, it would be like if the Red Sox played the Braves every year. Same thing.
Yeah.
They should. I
I
think
think the Yankees should play the Dodgers every year.
I agree. Well, you have the triple threat of fun between the Yankees, the Giants too. You get four
That's
games.
true. Yeah.
The Yankees and the Giants. I mean, that's the whole conversation. Like, I could go off on, and I know you got your press for time. Real quick,
Yep.
it's like when Derek Jeter retired, and something like, "Oh, he's the greatest shortstop ever." And my dad would be the jerk to go like, "He's not even the greatest shortstop in New York City history."
Yeah. Exactly.
Because like
Everybody
you
has
build it,
different definitions of
I was-
GOAT, and it's
I was-
based on when you lived.
I was gonna say build an all-time team out of New York. Good luck.
Yeah.
But just out of New York teams, like you got the Giants, the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Mets.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's 100% Hall of Fame players being kept off that team just
Yes.
because there's not enough room.
Well, like I said, just because you mentioned quickly how like about the Philadelphia and like the A's and the Phillies play every year.
Yeah.
Have that. Have like a 4-game series, 2 in Philadelphia, 2 in Oakland, or wherever the hell they're going to play next.
Yeah,
year.
wherever they move to.
Yeah, again. But anyway, we can let you go. We can wrap this up because it's like I know you're cutting it a little close.
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully your dog won't get shaved too bad.
Yeah, he's going to get fully groomed. He's like been walking around all day. He knows something's up. He's been walking around all day with a toy in his mouth. Like, where are you taking me? But it's just the groomer. It's not the vet. Whatever.
Yeah, I say you better give him like a steak or something like that. Like,
Oh
like
yeah,
a
he
squirrel.
always gets a nice. I mean, he's normally pretty good. He doesn't mind getting groomed. So
Yeah, Macy's pretty good about getting her nails done.
yeah, that's the toughest thing.
Yeah. Oh, I bet, especially with a dog, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But anyway, have a good
Yep.
day. We'll
Yep.
talk this
You
week.
too. Good show. Go baseball.
Yep. And we'll talk. We'll plan a baseball game or two this year somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. We'll make it happen.
Sounds good.
All right. Adios.